We're back out here today to talk about 5 things that I love about my KTM 390 Duke. That is, unless I can come up with a few more points while filming this video, which is entirely possible. A few weeks back, I was out here talking about 8 things that I hate about my 390 Duke. So today we're going to flip that on its head and do something a bit more positive, talking about the things that I love. To my surprise, I couldn't find as many points that I love about it as I did that I hated about it. And that doesn't mean that I dislike this bike at all. It is a brilliant bike, but the truth is that we often take the good points about a bike for granted. We expect so many aspects of them to be perfect, which ends up highlighting its quirks even more. The first thing that I love about my KTM is the fact that it's so light. Its little 390cc single-cylinder engine means that it can be very narrow and very light. And that lack of weight is very noticeable while riding, especially when going into corners. It's also not the tallest bike, which works for me because I'm not the tallest guy. So we go quite nicely together. And coming from bigger and heavier bikes like MT-09s, it really is light, and going into turns is awesome. It feels like counter steering is effortless, and you're not as scared to try and ride it hard for some reason, which I really like. The second thing that I love about this bike was completely unexpected, and that is the fact that you can literally one finger brake on it, which is amazing for a little bike that I wouldn't necessarily say is completely focused on performance. Now, I've never actually used one finger to brake before. Even on my R1 that had 6 piston calipers on each side of the front wheel, I would use a minimum of 2 fingers to brake, simply because the brakes are never actually strong enough or confidence inspiring enough to use just a single finger. But somehow this little bike with its single disc on the front and rather strange looking front brake caliper happened to just get it all right. And it's really awesome to be able to come into a corner, even if it's not that quickly, and just use a single finger to brake. It makes you feel more like Marquez, or preferably Mia. And of course, we couldn't make a video talking about things that I love about it without bringing up its devastatingly good looks. This is a seriously good looking bike in my opinion. There have been plenty of times when I've mistaken a little 390 Duke for a Super Duke. Whether it's out on the road or just on Instagram, they do look insanely similar. And to be honest, that's awesome for a little bike to look like its bigger brother. There are so many aspects of this bike that I absolutely love. It looks sharp from just about every angle. And although there is already plenty of footage on YouTube of me talking about aspects that I love about this bike, I'm gonna go again because I love the shape of this headlight. Its LEDs, the split down the middle, the two-tone mudguard that's half matte black and half gloss white. The orange wheels are absolutely brilliant and exactly what you expect on a KTM. It's half orange, half white trellis frame, also a signature. And then you get its little radiator covers that just make it look a little bit bigger than it really is. Even the shape of the tank and the font of the tank, they just do really nicely. Even its suspension looks bigger than it really is. And it has all the controls you would expect to find on the big bike, not the little one. I do apologize for it being a bit grubby though, but that doesn't detract from its good looks. Am I missing something? Let me know what you love about the look of this bike down in the comments. And the fourth reason that I love my little KTM, and possibly a strange one that only I can truly appreciate, is just how easy it is to attach cameras to. Although I don't like this cage, it has come in handy quite a few times to mount this bar mount that Insta360 sent me, and you can mount 360 cameras or GoPros to it very easily and get angles that I've never got before on any other bike. And this is a very good reason to have a trellis frame in my opinion, because there are so many options to get good angles, whether it's the main frame, the sub frame, or even the handlebars. An advantage of having a traditional style handlebar or a motocross style handlebar as opposed to a clip-on like on a superbike is because it makes it very easy to mount cameras to with bar mounts like this. And this comes in very handy for me very often. So if you're like me and love filming videos or use GoPros on your bike often, I highly recommend a KTM 390 Duke, or at the very least a naked bike with a trellis frame. And the final point that I love, that I swore I wouldn't bring up and would stop talking about, is its fuel consumption. I'm sorry, I know I said I would stop talking about this, but it is one of the few points and few advantages I have over big bike riders, so I kinda have to talk about it. It is a very strange number to worry about when riding a motorcycle, and I can safely say it's a statistic that I've never worried about in the past. But it's oddly satisfying to have a fuel efficient motorcycle and to never have to fill it up. I filled it up twice since I've had it, and the first time was on day one because it was empty. You can ride hard, you can ride far, you can just grab groceries or do something very important, and it hardly uses any fuel. So maybe I'm just getting old, or maybe it's just a stat that this bike is good at, but either way, it is something I look at, unfortunately. But anyway, there you have 5 things that I love about my 390 Duke, whether they're glaringly obvious or a little bit strange and personalized to me. And I also just wanted to say thank you for your guys' support on the second channel, because this week we finally reached our goals and now it is finally monetized. So thank you for that. But anyway, thank you so much for watching Reduce Chaos, and I'll see you on the next ride.